So welcome back to a brand new video here on the second channel, and today we're going to look at the brand new cards that got revealed at the World Championships. Now, while we don't have the full scans of the cards like we usually get, we do have pretty high quality images of what the English cards say, and we have some interesting things. We have new mechanic labels here. We have future and ancient mechanics, and A-Spec cards are going to be returning with the new set. And this is going to be coming out in our November set, and A-Specs are coming back. Now, unfortunately, we did not see the reveal of any A-Specs, so we don't know if Computer Search or Dowsing Machine are coming back or anything like that. But what we do know are that A-Specs are returning, and I would like to imagine we are going to see reprints of cards within those A-Specs. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a reprint of Master Ball, Computer Search, and Dowsing Machine, and we see more new A-Spec cards. But yeah, we do have 8 new cards to take a look at here that were revealed in our new set. And of course, we do have ancient and future cards, which are very similar to what the style cards did, like Fusion, Single Strike, and Rapid Strike cards do. They're basically like the same idea where you just have each different thing having its own kind of unique trait about it. So just basically these cards are the new age of Rapid Strike and Single Strike and Fusion Strike cards. But let's take a look. I will leave a link down below to the PokeBeach article if you want to go read these cards yourselves and look into more of the information and get more of a look as to what these cards do. But let's reveal them and read what they do. So, starting things off, we have Screamtail here. Now, as you can see, we do see the full English scan of it here on PokeBeach. We can maybe zoom in a little bit more. So, yeah, Screamtail is infamously good in the VGC and also pretty good here in the TCG. It does have the attack Roaring Scream that, for 2 energy, does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on your Screamtail. So, this does provide you another snipe attack within Gardevoir. Well, I think maybe Cresselia might be better than Screamtail, because I don't think Screamtail actually bypasses Manaphy that, like, Cresselia does. Screamtail does have the ability to snipe Pokemon, and that is really strong. Of course, Screamtail does have the addition of Bravery Charm, which you could put on Screamtail to give it more HP, to allow it to do more damage with Roaring Scream. Though I don't know if the Bravery Charm would really fix much math. But yeah, Screamtail can snipe for quite a bit of damage when you pile up damage on it with Gardevoir. So a pretty good one of to potentially play within Gardevoir decks. It is a basic Pokemon, so you can just slap it down the bench. Gardevoir, a ton of energy to it, and then all of a sudden Roaring Scream is doing a ton of snipe damage to a Pokemon, so a decent little card there. Next up is a new Delibird. Now, Delibird is a future card here with the ability Hyper Blower. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon, and if you do, discard this Pokemon. So, Delibird basically has a built-in mini escape rope effect, which is kind of cool. Not the most insane ability ever. I don't know how good this ability ultimately is, because making your opponent switch their active Pokemon isn't really, like, the greatest thing ever. Because they have to choose a Pokemon. If obviously this was Gust, it'd be a little too good, obviously. But it is an interesting card. Iron Bundle here could be a decent card. With that ability, its attack, Refrigerated Stream, it does 80 damage, and if the defending Pokemon is an evolution, it can't attack. So even the attack is, like, kind of okay. It's kind of good against, like, VMAX Pokemon, like Duraludon. But overall, I think the ability is just kind of mediocre. Again, we are going to be seeing some future and ancient cards revealed that go with these cards, so we kind of just have an early look of this card. We don't really know what else this card is going to be released with yet. So, I mean, Iron Bundle could be pretty good down the road. And by the way, I do like how these cards look here with, like, the textures they have. You can see Screamtail has, like, kind of like an ancient-y, earthy kind of look to it. And then you see, like, Screamtail's kind of got, like, a digital look to it because it's future. Next up is Iron Moth here with the ability Thermal Reactor. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active spot, you may move any amount of fire energy from your Pokemon to it, and then you have Heat Ray that is 120 damage. So the ability is really good. Being able to move all the energy to your Iron Moth is pretty nice. The problem is that Iron Moth's attack is kind of bad. It only does 120 damage for 3 energy. Nothing too crazy. Not really the greatest card. Again, we are going to see some more future cards, so you got to take this with a grain of salt. Maybe we'll see some kind of tool card that makes future Iron Moth have, like, some really good attack that actually makes the ability worthwhile. So while the Heat Ray attack kind of sucks, I do think we could see some kind of card that goes with it that could maybe make this card playable. Because the fact that they revealed it is kind of telling that maybe there's more going on to Iron Moth. And obviously, we got the Trainer Gallery Iron Moth looking pretty sick there, not going to lie. It's a pretty nice artwork. Then we got Brute Bennett here. So Brute Bennett does have the ability Toxic Powder. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon has an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached to it, you may make both active Pokemon confused. Now, Ancient Booster Energy Capsule He's either a tool or an energy card. I don't think we know yet. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, somebody may correct me in the comments, but the ability basically auto poisons both active Pokemon, which is kind of cool. It's like a worse Clodsire or even a better Clodsire because you don't have to put a 2-prize stage 1 into play. You just have to put this basic down, but then you have to put a certain card on it to make the ability work. But I mean, the ability obviously could be good within the Eradicate decks as a meme. We do have Rain Painting Hammer. That, again, just is another 120 damage attack. Nothing too crazy with Brute Bennett. The ability is kind of cool, though. Being able to poison the active Pokemon can be decent, and there could be some value to that, obviously. So definitely maybe keep your eye on the Brute Bennett here. Then next up, we do have the Trainer Gallery version, which looks kind of cool. You can't really see what's going on too much, but you can kind of get a look at it, which is kind of cool. I guess Brute Bennett's like kind of like a Moongus. Yeah, it's like an evil Amoongus. Next up, we have a Roaring Moon EX. Now, Roaring Moon EX actually seems to be the best card revealed out of these batch of cards. So it does have the attack Frenzied Gouging. Knock your opponent's active Pokemon out. If your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out in this way, this Pokemon does 200 damage to itself. Even the other attack, Calamity Storm, isn't too bad. It does 100 damage, and you may discard a Stadium in play, and if you do, this attack does 120 more damage. So the first attack is obviously the main selling point of Roaring Moon EX. Being able to instant KO your opponent's active Pokemon is pretty strong. Now, of course, the downside is you are going to take 200 damage. Now, the cool thing about the downside is Roaring Moon has a whopping 230 HP, so Frenzied Gouging will not knock yourself out. You're going to be left with 30 HP remaining, which obviously you might as well be knocked out, but you're not knocking yourself out going into your opponent's turn. You're just giving your opponent the ability to make it easier to KO your Roaring Moon in their turn. You're not knocking yourself out on the turn you use Frenzied Gouging, and that does make this card kind of playable. I think this definitely is a pretty decent card. It is a Dark-type Pokemon, so you can synergize this with Dark Patch. You can even play this with like Dark Patch, Raihan, EXP Share. Darkrai V-Star will probably play Roaring Moon as a one-of because you can play this with Energy Switch Moltres. You can play it with Dark Patch. You have Darkrai V-Star's V-Star power to get you back 2 more Dark Patches, so it makes it easier to build up multiple Roaring Moon EXs in the game. You can play this with like Galarian Moltres V and Thornton in that deck too. So there are quite a few ways to kind of make this card work, and it's pretty good against like those big walls, like anything in the active with a ton of HP like Charizard EX, Duraludon VMAX, even like something like Mew VMAX, you can just immediately knock out with Frenzied Gouging. This could even be good in like a Lost Zone deck, right? There's there's room for even a Lost Zone deck to play Roaring Moon EX with Mirage Gate. So definitely keep your eye on this card. I think it is definitely a pretty playable card. And again, there's more cards that will get revealed. There's more ancient cards that will be revealed alongside Roaring Moon as kind of the time goes on leading up to the set release. And the new cards that get revealed are probably going to make this card even better. So while we already have some decent tools for this card to make it work right now, I think we're going to get even more in the future that are going to make this card even stronger. Next up is another pretty cool card here. We have Iron Valiant EX, which is a future card. It's got the ability Tachyon Bits. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active spot, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So that's a pretty strong ability. Now, the cool thing about this ability is being able to use multiple Iron Valiants in a single turn. So with an ability like this will allow you to move between multiple Iron Valiants and use multiple of this ability in turn, potentially knocking out basic Pokemon with 60 or 70 HP or 80 HP. Because if you go in between like 3 Iron Valiants, maybe combine that with a Radiant Alakazam or like a Hawlucha for the following turn, you can really rack up damage quickly, and you can donk stuff with this ability alone against low HP basics, and that's pretty deadly. Its attack Laser Blade only has 200 damage, and then it can't attack. Maybe this card will see play within Gardevoir. I mean, it is kind of like an evil version of Gardevoir Gallade. But I do think this card is actually pretty solid. I think the ability is pretty good. Being able to put damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon during your turn before you attack is obviously very, very strong right now within the format. And with all the switch we have, I mean, there's Cross Switcher, Escape Rope, normal switch card. This card is a basic Pokemon, so it would be allowed to use switch card. There's a lot of cards that can make this card pretty deadly, so definitely a pretty playable card for sure. That ability can rack up damage pretty quickly, so definitely keep your eye on Iron Valiant EX. It is not that bad. And yeah, that's about it. We only got the 4 new cards, or the 5 new cards revealed, or the 6 new cards revealed, my bad. We have 6 new cards revealed. Screamtail's not bad. I think Screamtail could be good within Gardevoir. I think that Brute Bonnet is okay. I think that the best card was maybe the Roaring Moon EX. This card definitely seems to be the strongest card revealed, though I do think Iron Valiant is also a pretty unique card that could be good within the future too. And again, we will see the return of A-Spec cards, and I don't know what ones we're going to get. They didn't reveal any A-Specs, which is honestly quite strange. They announced the return of A-Specs, but then they don't reveal any A-Specs, and it's a little odd that they did that. But I'm pretty excited for A-Specs to return. I definitely cannot wait to see what A-Specs come back. Again, let me know what you think A-Specs could come back. Do you think we're going to see Computer Search, Daz Machine, or Master Ball? I think those are going to be the three that are going to get reprinted. But what other A-Specs do you think will come back? I would love to hear. What do you think of the new cards that got revealed? What do you think of the new Future and Ancient mechanics? And what do you think of Dark Moon and Iron Valiant and even Screamtail? Love to hear what you think of the new cards down below in the comments. Leave a link to Poke Beach down below if you want to go check out and read the cards yourself. And that'll be for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe down below here to the second channel if you have not subscribed already. And I'll catch y'all in another video here on the second channel. Bye-bye.